The NFL, where Bengals fans got some good news over the weekend. Receiver T. Higgins signed his franchise tag on Saturday, meaning that he is now expected to be at training camp when that rolls around. Higgins missed all offseason workouts with the Bengals while the tag went unsigned. For more, we welcome in our NFL insider, Dan Graziano. And Dan, some Bengals fans, maybe they let out a sigh of relief knowing that T. Higgins will be at training camp. We know he'll be there for the Bengals this season. However, what does this mean for Jamar Chase and his deal that could be coming up?
Well, I mean, it means the Bengals have made a choice that they're more likely to extend Jamar Chase than T. Higgins at this point, which is no surprise considering where they drafted Jamar Chase. But Higgins should be on the team this year and should be a well-paid free agent next year, assuming he hits the open market. While Jamar Chase is eligible for a big money extension, doesn't mean the Bengals have to get it done this offseason. They can wait till next offseason, as the Vikings did with Justin Jefferson, and as the wide receiver market continues to escalate, Jamar Chase may want to wait. So while they could get a deal done with Jamar Chase at any point, it's also possible that extends into next offseason. But what the Higgins decision tells you is he's made his peace with not getting a long-term deal from the Bengals at this point, and it is far more likely that Jamar Chase is the one of the two that's there for a long period of time.
And if you're
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this because we had talked about T. Higgins before, and Schefter reported before that he thinks that T. Higgins could be really difficult this season for the Cincinnati Bengals, and how what they could be doing is what he could be doing. You know, T. Higgins could just be like sit out a bunch, right? Like I have a back soreness, whatever it may be, that he's still going to play and put up some numbers, but won't really give it his all. And like we talked about, it's like the whole idea is like, well, first off, he's going to want to play. He's going to want to ball out and put up numbers so he can maximize his money, right? I mean, because if he balls out and does everything he can, well, then he's going to maximize his return. I understand even if he just has a subpar year or just like an average year or, you know, right around what his numbers have been or maybe even slightly worse, he's still going to get paid a tremendous amount of money, especially if the Bengals aren't that good for whatever reason. Let's say like they're not super competitive and that happens, and they'll just kind of blame the Bengals, right? Like let's say Joe Burrow gets injured or something, right? Like then they're not going to put that blame on T. Higgins, and will have a better argument to go to another team and actually get paid. Although the truth is when you're looking at salary cap, and I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly where their offerings are, it's not easy to go out and pay a wide receiver big money and also win. Like I don't know what teams have that space and are just like a wide receiver away from now being super competitive, you know, and actually a Super Bowl contender. I'm not exactly sure where that is. So it's kind of like he has to kind of choose between, does he want a big payday and go play for like the Carolina Panthers or, you know, just making up a team, or does he take less money and say, I'm going to go to the Bills? Like, you know, it's interesting. You don't know. Although maybe the Bills could afford it. But the thing is with T. Higgins is this also. If Joe Burrow is healthy and the Bengals are healthy as a whole, that means they're going to be competitive. That means they're going to have a chance at not only making it to a Super Bowl, but winning a Super Bowl. If your team is healthy and Joe Burrow is healthy and you're a wide receiver and you're winning games, like this is the best chance you have to win a Super Bowl. You got Joe Burrow, who, if he stays healthy in his career, should retire as an all-time great. I mean, he's just that good, right? We've kind of been robbed of Joe Burrow's greatness because of injury. Not to mention Patrick Mahomes has had so much success that it makes some of these other quarterbacks not look as great, when in reality, they are as good as it gets. I mean, these are top level quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow is one of them. You know, Joe Burrow's at the top, you know, so I just think that T. Higgins would have plenty of incentive. The big thing is, because he says, you know, I made it, you know, has made his peace. But the big thing is this. He's obviously going to be annoyed and upset. I don't care what anyone says. He's going to be upset. He's not going to be happy with the Bengals. He's not going to really feel wanted. He's not really going to feel respected. And sure, some of the players are still going to be like family to him, depending on some of the relationships that he had and some of the staff. But it's going to be different. It's going to be cold. It's almost like if anyone's ever had this experience before, you're dating someone, they break up with you, whether right or wrong. Maybe you messed up. I guess it doesn't really matter. And then you get back together. Things are a little weird. And now you hang out with, his or her family. And it's just different. Like, the family knows you guys broke up. The family knows things are not going too well. And it's just awkward. You can feel it. You can sense it. Even though you had a great relationship with the father or the mother or the sibling, her or his brother or sister, right? It's just weird. It's just different. It's just not the same. And that's what this is like, kind of. Like, it's just not going to be the same. He's going to feel a little withdrawn, a little less into it. When the coaches say, this is what the Bengals are all about, he's thinking, yeah, right, sure, whatever you say. So it's just going to hit differently. And then he's also going to question, he's going to look around. Who was against me? Whose real final say was this? Was this coach? Coach say that he doesn't want me? Does coach say that he doesn't need me? I don't know. I mean, I heard the coach say that he wants me, but I don't know. I don't know if I can trust coach. Like, it just everything just kind of starts to hit differently, right? It's just different. And I think that has potential. So if the Cincinnati Bengals hit some adversity early on in the season, I could see like a T. Higgins checking out, right? Not so much like what Schefter is saying in terms of, I'm just not going to play or this, that, but it's just going to be different. He's just not going to be trying to maybe rally the troops as much, go all in, sacrifice his body. If he is a little sore, is he going to, hit the weight room again? Or is he going to be like, nah, man, I'm good, right? Like, it depends, right? Like, if they are losing by 10 in the fourth quarter and they're like 5-5 or something, right? Is he just kind of like, man, whatever? Right, like, or is he like, no, come on, we got this. We got to win this game. I've been doing the math. We're second, right? Like, we can still win the division. Like, it all depends. So I just think that adversity could potentially, I don't want to say unravel because that's too strong of a word, but it could just compound into a bigger issue. But listen, I don't think that's where the Bengals are going to find themselves. Again, as long as Joe Burrow is healthy, Joe Burrow will remind everyone just how elite he is. And then when you do have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and everyone else in that team, then they should have a tremendous amount of success. But in the case that they do face adversity and maybe they do get a slower start or something of that nature, then T. Higgins would be probably one of the first people to check out and just, you wouldn't really be able to rely on him. And again, you also have other teammates who are going to be like, man, I can't believe they didn't sign you. I can't believe they didn't give you that money. Like, even if they know deep down that the team can't afford it, they'll still say it. Like, it just makes things a little bit more complicated. And it's not the type of energy you want going into the season if you have Super Bowl aspirations. It's just not. And the Bengals don't have that culture established enough, right? Like, they haven't won enough. They haven't won a Super Bowl. Some of these other organizations and franchises can endure that if they've won more, right? If they've won a Super Bowl, been to multiple Super Bowls, whatever it may be, they've had that. The Bengals have not had that. They are this newfound team essentially for the last 5 or so years, however many years it is, where they are like, now they are legitimate contenders. And that's what Joe Burrow said, like, every year we're in contention now. Like, things have changed since my arrival. And it's true. But that's the thing. It's not an established culture. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the Bengals and T. Higgins and kind of how he approaches this season. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think T. Higgins, the fact that he signed this franchise tag, will be like kind of a good thing for the Bengals, or do you think it's got potential to still kind of cause some issues? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.